This is a sad story, folks. Obviously, we cover a lot of heinous activity involving us drivers, but this is the flip side. This time it is one of us committing a violent felony to a passenger. Unacceptable. But the outcome of this just makes it get worse and worse. It is indeed your boy Tim with a very disgusting rideshare video. Nevertheless, I want you to check it out because there are a few lessons to be discussed in this.
This secluded stretch of 6th Avenue east of Lacey was not the destination of a woman's rideshare trip over the weekend. But police say this is where an Uber driver brought the intoxicated woman and raped her.
The state is also taking the position there is a substantial danger that the defendant will commit a new violent crime.
Today, that Uber driver appeared in court. We're not showing him or using his name because he hasn't been charged yet. But behind this blurred image, the suspect's face was visibly bruised. That's because sheriff's investigators say the victim's family tracked her location and saw she didn't make it home. Her father and other family members went to find her and interrupted the attack. Sheriff's investigators say the family beat up the driver, who then sped away and was quickly arrested, according to a police report.
She is fearful if he is released, or expressed that she would be fearful if he is released.
Family and friends of the suspect came to support him in court, but in the neighborhood where the attack happened,
can't trust anybody anymore, and it sucks.
People we talked to were disturbed.
She wanted to go out and have a good time and, expect the rideshare to be a safe place. And
investigators allege the driver marked the woman's trip as complete on the app, but kept her in the car and kept driving. Prosecutors said that showed he meant to conceal where she was while he took her to the secluded spot to attack her.
What kind of background checks are they running on people, right? Is it anybody? Can anybody just sign up to this program?
I reached out to Uber about this case today. They sent me a statement. They said the allegations are appalling and that their team is now working with law enforcement in the investigation. As for that rideshare driver, he's being held on a $100,000 bail, and the judge said that if he's able to post that bail, he cannot work as a rideshare driver while the case against him moves forward. Reporting from Thurston County, I'm Jeremy Harris, Como News.
They beat the shit out of this dude. Now, in the video, his face is blocked out, but I do believe there are photos available of his face. I will post that. Shout out to the family for getting a little bit of get back on this driver that was caught actually in the act of violating this man's daughter, violating the family, or the family members saw him being the assailant to their loved one. Caught him in the act of actually taking her innocence. Wow. Now, I will point out something. This is not to victim blame whatsoever, so I don't want you folks in the comments. What happened to her is despicable, and the driver should pay full retail. Hopefully his time while he's incarcerated will not be pleasant at all. But fact is, riding an Uber or Lyft when you're highly intoxicated, inebriated, or out of your fucking mind, it's not safe. You see the person being interviewed, this individual wanted to go out and have a good time and it should be safe to ride in an Uber or a Lyft. It's not. It is not. It's certainly not safe for the drivers, and to some degree it's not safe for the passengers either. And that's when you're stone cold sober. It's not a safe industry. You got strangers coming together all the time. And as you've seen on this particular content channel, bad stuff happens all the time. People are getting murdered right and left. It's not a safe environment. You shouldn't be drunk in the car with a stranger. I know a lot of folks use Uber and Lyft to come home after, drinking so much and they don't want to get a DUI or whatever the case may be. I understand what you're doing is great in terms of your driving record, but riding home in an Uber or a Lyft is not a safe thing to do. This isn't the first story we've covered of a inebriated passenger being taken advantage of by a driver. This does happen, so understand it. By the way, some passengers get drunk and come on to drivers as well, and it's not uncommon for drivers to fall for that too. So being drunk in a stranger's vehicle is not a good idea, but I don't want to come across as victim blaming. Nevertheless, in this story, he has been charged with both second-degree rape and first-degree kidnapping. They're holding him on a $100,000 bond, which you only have to pay a small percentage of that. So this guy could end up posting bond and being out on the loose. I mean, he's facing a pretty significant charge. He was caught in the act of sexual assault. So there is a legitimate reason for him to go on the lam if he posts a bond. What I don't favor is having his whole damn family there supporting this guy who is allegedly a rapist. They're all sitting there. I don't know if I could show up to support a family member if they did something like this. Now, in the video, you see he actually completed the trip. So there's no argument about whether his intentions were, maybe she was trying to holler at him and he just decided, no, he was clearly on some evil shit. He completed the trip and continued on with her to some kind of secluded area. And based on all of the articles I've read, she was really, really drunk. I mean, the authorities refer to her as highly intoxicated. As I stated, you should not be in a stranger's vehicle, even if it's a rideshare vehicle, if you meet the standards of being highly intoxicated. That's just not a good situation to be in. But they describe her as being highly intoxicated. Fox News has an article saying that the driver in this case not only got beat up, was actually shot. I've looked up some other articles, and at the very least, there were a couple shots taken by the father, so they were trying to kill his ass. He drove off, so they beat the shit out of him, and he did take off and got away for a quick second, but the authorities caught him, and he has since been arrested. But awful story to hear this. Now, you hear Uber stating that they're working with authorities. Uber is going to really get it up to you-know-what on this case. They're going to really end up paying a lot of money in terms of a lawsuit. No other choice but to settle out of court on this. There's no other choice. They caught him in the act. So Uber is going to have to... Obviously, if something happens to us drivers, nobody gets a damn thing. Passenger gets in the car and, hurts the driver, up to and including loss of life. The driver and the driver's families, or whoever is left behind after the driver is killed, you don't even get a card. Not even flowers at your funeral. Zero. That is the standard output from Uber or Lyft when something happens to drivers. Other than we have banned the person that killed you from the app so they can no longer request trips in the future. That's about it. Obviously, somebody could request a trip for that murderer. That's your, his friend or something, could do it anyway. But that's about all you get when something happens to you as a driver. But in this case, because it happened to the passenger by a driver who was working on behalf of Uber, they're going to have to really pay this victim some money. Now, you see, she stated, according to the video there, that she is fearful of her safety if the driver is released again. I don't know where to go with that. I mean, does he know where she lives at and things like that? Does she plan on getting in Ubers in the future and is scared that she may re-encounter him? I don't know. But listen, no one's going to fault a victim in this case that has had their innocence taken for saying they're scared if this person is let free in society. With $100,000 bond, he might actually be when you got half his damn family showing up. It's easy to put a little bit of a loan on a home or something and get him out. And I think he may be from a different country. So he could be released. Never know what may happen. Never know what may happen. But this is a terrible story. I hate to even bring this kind of stuff by you, but you don't want to always make it sound like we're the only victims of some of this stuff. Some cases, in some times, it is the drivers that are victimizing passengers. This guy is a piece of scum. Hopefully, as I stated, he faces the strongest in terms of prosecution and sentencing, and he ends up doing some really, really hard time. Nevertheless, folks, be cautious when picking up intoxicated passengers. I've done a video right before this one, and I state my humble advice is if you can avoid drunk passengers, do so. You're not likely to get tipped from a drunk. You may have to end up getting out of your car and helping them walk to their damn house, or they may vomit in your shit. There is no upside as a rideshare driver to picking up somebody that is highly intoxicated. So if you can avoid this type of stuff, I would strongly suggest you do. It is your boy Tim. Feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.